What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, for this video, we're going to be jumping into Superman Action Comics issue 1030. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this, we're diving into the new Infinite Frontier, and honestly, this comic is really a lot of fun, and we're building up to Warworld. Now, this is written by Becky Clonan, pencils are by Michael Oeming, inks are the same, and colored by Jordi Belair. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so as we jump into this issue, we're brought to Warworld, and we see the leaders of the Chainmen of the hordes of Warworld, and they have come to pledge fealty to none other than Mongul. Because Mongul is now the new leader. He is the one that is taken on his father, taken the throne, while his brothers kind of have a civil war amongst themselves. You know, this is the way of Warworld. The son always ends up taking the throne. One of the sons. This is the constant cycle that is Warworld. Now, as the Chainmen sit here and do their best to convince Mongul that they are now pledging allegiance to him, this is when we see the arrival of a stranger, a cloaked individual that refers to himself as nothing more than a nameless scavenger. But like Mongul's war masters, he has come bearing gifts. And his first gift is something of the most brutal degree. His gift is the heads of Mongul's sons. All of them. Now, obviously, this causes quite a commotion, and everybody is begging Mongul to let them kill this guy, to take him out. You know, he just killed Mongul's sons. He deserves to die. He's a traitor. But Mongul tells everybody to be silent. And he lets the scavenger know, you know, this is a worthy gift. Now there are none that remain that could challenge his rule. But this isn't the only gift he has. And he lets Mongul know the Warworld is not what he thinks, because its secrets, they run deep. Something the forebearers never truly understood. And the key to mastering it is the one and only Kryptonian known as Superman. Now, this is where we pick up with Superman in the heat of battle. He is taking on what looks to be some kind of invasion force. But at the end of the day, this is Superman we're talking about. Like, this is nothing. These are mechanical objects that are attacking him. Superman can literally crunch these things like a tin can. And that's exactly what we see here. We see this thing, this giant robot monster come at Superman and him take one punch and completely obliterate this machine into absolute scrap. And this is when Superman heads back to the Batcave. And he's met by Adam and Batman. And what Batman was doing here at the Batcave is they were going over all of Superman's numbers, what they look like, what his energy level outputs are. And Batman lets him know his energy output, it did increase, while his speed and levels of force, they diminish slightly. They're also seeing what they think is cellular decay. Now, Adam, he doesn't seem too worried on this aspect. He really believes that this is just something ordinary, that he's going with the solar cycles of Earth. But Batman, he disagrees. Batman thinks that the cellular decay is consistent with radiation poisoning, and that whatever happened during the breach, the aliens that attacked him in the last issues, whatever damage they did, Batman thinks it may have done some real damage. But Adam also, he kind of gives him a little bit of reassurance here and lets him know, like, hey, like, your power levels may be diminished just slightly, but you are still Superman. Like, your powers are still absolutely through the roof compared to anybody else. And this is where Superman lets him know, you know, we need to make sure this remains a secret. It needs to remain between the individuals in this room, because they can't afford to have somebody finding out. They can't afford for Lex Luthor to find out, or Darkseid, or the number of countless individuals that would use this to their advantage. And this is where we get a really, really interesting fact as well. And Batman lets Superman know that he's been tracking John as well. He's been tracking his progress. And he tells Superman, you know, the kid's, he's getting stronger. He potentially could be stronger than you and your cousin. And he tells Clark, you know, if I were you and I saw these numbers, I may think it's time to talk to Jonathan about joining the League. You know, a just-in-case situation. Because if Superman dies, the world is still going to need a Superman. And that Superman is going to have to be Jonathan. Now, this is where we pick up with Jonathan and Damian. Now, right now, in the Robin line that we just covered today, Damian's made his way to the Lazarus Island, and he's trying to compete in the League of Lazarus tournament. Now, it doesn't exactly pinpoint exactly what time era this is taking place in, if he's already made it to the island or not, but we know that right now, Robin is not with Batman. You know, Damian, he's mad right now. With everything that happened with Alfred, the Joker War, with Bane, you know, he just can't take it anymore. And so he's gone out and kind of done his own thing. And so these two sit down and they have a conversation. And more or less, it's Jonathan venting about his father. You know, because Jonathan, he has been to the future. He knows exactly what is going to happen. He's seen the historical archives where people talk about both him and Batman. They're hugely popular. But the issue for Jonathan, it lies in what the history doesn't tell. Because that breach event that Superman fought, that was the last known account of Superman being alive. Now, there's a lot of hearsay on what could have happened to Superman, but there's no definitive answer. There's even some reports talking about an alien armada attacking Atlantis, and then there's another theory where, you know, he was really badly burned or poisoned in a fight, and then right before he died, a ship of Kryptonians came to take him home. You know, right now, Jonathan, he's not ready to lose his dad, and he's definitely not ready to be Superman. Or at least that's how he feels. But Damian tells him, you know, it's just not that way, you know? It's definitely not up to you or your dad on what happens here. You know, obviously, Damian doesn't want Superman to die. But unlike Superman, Jonathan was literally born to do this. It's not a question of if, but he will fill his dad's shoes someday. Nobody can stop it from happening, not even Jonathan. Now, this is where we pick up with Superman and Lois at the Fortress of Solitude. Right now, they're inside Condor, going through all the libraries because we see Lois Lane kind of just going through all the manuscripts, trying to learn as much as she can about this place. But this is when Kel-X brings them out because something requires his attention. An armed extraterrestrial vessels are approaching Earth's atmosphere, and when they say vessels, they mean many. And this is where we see the invasion of Warworld. And Superman, he jumps into action, tells Kel-X to send out an alert to the rest of the Justice League, and he calls out to Jonathan, he calls out to Kara, he calls out to Connor, any of the supers that can hear him, because they may have a situation on their hands. And this is where Jonathan catches up to Superman, and they start taking things on. Now, Superman automatically recognizes this as Warworld ships. But as they're battling this fight, they see that the missiles, they weren't even aimed at them, they were aimed at the main ship. And it appears that they are firing on their own ship. They're attacking one another. Now, Superman, he's not able to see through the ship's hull, but he can hear the crew. He hears them whispering something that he hasn't heard ever spoken aloud, something that he has only read in texts, because what he's hearing is a prayer in a dead Kryptonian language. And this is where we see Superman get on board the ship to reveal two individuals that have broken out of their shackles. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Honestly, I really am enjoying this. You know, the Warworld story in Future State was a lot of fun, but I am thoroughly enjoying the Infinite Frontiers build up to this event, especially with this Superman story, because you know, we know Superman doesn't die. We know that he ends up on Warworld fighting and fighting and fighting day after day. But the how of that story is even much more fascinating. And if there's Kryptonians left out there in the world, in the universe, then it would make sense. It would make sense for him to go to Warworld and fight for them. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. How are you liking this so far? Are you enjoying the artwork? Are you enjoying the storyline? Is this really hitting the spot for you when it comes to Action Comics? Let me know down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor and hit that sub button. hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. And until the next breakdown.